Welcome to It's Your Date with Destiny with Apostle Vivian and Pastor Jemma Duncan of Divine Destiny Worship Center in Diego Martin. For the next 30 minutes, join us as we take you on a journey of maximizing your potential and realizing your goals through Jesus Christ.
Why is it when you need a miracle, it doesn't happen, but when you least expect it, it happens?
You are married, you have challenges in your relationship, but your spouse is unwilling to accede to any counseling. Is divorce an option?
How does a parent handle a promiscuous child?
What are considered the do's and don'ts of a born-again couple who is not yet married?
There are always more questions than answers. So here is Apostle Jemma.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Ask Pastor Jemma. I'm happy that you took the time to be with me this morning. Today, the topic we're going to be listening to, viewing, is really important and applies to every single person in every situation. I have the pleasure to introduce my second son or second child, who happens to be a boy, a male. His name is Deon, and Deon is going to be sharing on resolving conflict. It's going to be a 3-part series, so you can't not follow me next time. For the next 3 weeks, we're going to be looking at resolving conflict. I really feel that this morning I'll tell you a little bit about us, Apostle Vivian and I. We have 3 adult children. Donald is our eldest child and elder son. And if you've been following me, you would have heard Donald minister. Deon, the one you're going to be listening to for the next couple of weeks, is our second child and second son as well. And we give God praise for him. Then we have a very beautiful daughter who looks like her father, Jade Patrice. And you're going to hear from her in a little bit, not too long again. If you are a first-time viewer, by the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Jemma Duncan. I'm married to Apostle Vivian Duncan, and together we pastor Divine Destiny Worship Center. Our headquarters is in Diego Martin, on the Diego Martin Main Road opposite Sardonynx Drive. We have branches in Shogunas, in Sangre Grande, in Faizabad, Rio Claro. We have one in Tobago. We have a branch in Antigua. So any one of these branches, you will be able to avail yourself of whatever is on offering in Diego Martin. I'm sure you've been blessed by part 1 of Resolving Conflict. And here again, we have part 2. Without much further ado, I'm going to introduce Deon to you.
Back in the day, when you had a public spat with an ignorant person, even if it got physical, most they get is a little. In my day, we used to call it a shock pan. This is your pan, you used to get shocked. Pop. Slap. You tell man a slap. You might punch somebody. I remember my first and only fight. They're only hearing this for the first time. My first and only fight. My first and only fight. Did I say my first and only, right? Never fought again. 1994, Form 1, Hillview. I now come out of primary school. Primary school, I'm bigger than everybody. You know? So I never had to contend with, I never went to private school. So I didn't have to contend with, people of nefarious nature. I never had to deal with that kind of stuff. We on the football field, lunchtime. And anybody been, I haven't driven past a school while school is in session for quite some time. But when school in session, everybody on the field. You have 2 small goals here, 2 small goals here, one person playing cricket, one person cricket. Everybody that's on the field at the same time, right? Yeah. So it so happened that we playing cricket, my ball goes over into somebody else's game, and Mr. Man throws the ball that we are using into the bamboo patch. You are disrespectful. And because I have never been, first of all, I sized him up. He was real skinny. He was real thin. Thin like Bodhi. Like string beans. Well, watch me. Like string beans. Bodhi, string beans for the foreigners. So I walk up to the fella and say, how going on? Go and get my ball now. I know you gotta get him. Go and get my ball now. And he's like, listen, I tell Ole already, don't come in our space. I say, go and get my ball, but I tell you, go and get my ball. Walking to hit him and a slap. One street fighter can sweep that man, hit me, bap, on my face. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Flat on my face. I mean on my back, flat on my back. In the crucified position. Dust everywhere. And then he walk away like Jet Li. So of course everybody's like, oh. So I get up, I say, boy, you are mad, boy, you are mad, boy. Sleep again, bap. Twice. The same move from Street Fighter 2. I cannot sweep. This time, he come over me and say, I say, leave me alone, boy. I say, all right, good. It's Form 1. Only to find out that this goodly, skinny gentleman was a 6-degree shadow boxer. National champion in his division. I am now going to be 37 years old. Over 25 years ago, I was taught that lesson. Never underestimate somebody. Never underestimate somebody. Which leads me into my next point. Choose your battles wisely. Choose your battles wisely. And I'm going to address my married people. Sometimes it's not the appropriate time nor the appropriate place to deal with a matter. For those who are dating, for those who are already intended, for those who desire to get married one day. If you don't learn this skill about choosing your battles wisely, put on your seatbelts. Married folk, you wake up in the morning, you're getting ready to leave the house. That is not the time to start arguing. My philosophy, and me and Leah worked this out early on. First of all, I have plenty of advice for married people. We'll talk about that later. Because I'm going to pray for married people after this. So, only listen. My philosophy is, it has no way any argument leaving this house. And I can't pretend. So if it's morning time, and we arguing, and we don't resolve that, I whole day in work I sour. I know how I could pretend so. I can't sit down and write to work on a vex. I didn't want to eat. I can't draw my bathroom cycle of everything off. So we have come to the agreement that, you know what? It's morning time. We're getting ready to go to work. Now is not the time to deal with this. Even if you're arguing when you're showering, You put on your clothes and say, love you, have a productive day. I'm sorry for whatever I said, but God is good. Let me go and get them. Because you don't know if that's the last time you get to address that person. I didn't say it was easy. Nobody ever said it was easy. You know what it is for two adults who have their own place and their own money before you get married, and then they come together, and now you have to share everything? Married people, we just argue about real nonsense. Eh? You want pizza, and I want doubles. But I want pizza. Yesterday we ate pizza, and all of a sudden you're arguing. You know why? Because it's not really about the pizza. It's about whatever it is that didn't happen, and then manifest through the pizza, and before you know it, kaboom. Your ability to effectively handle conflict directly affects the quality of life that you live in relationships. So choosing your battles wisely, not only with that example, but the example I just said. Here am I trying to think I outsize this fella because I've never been challenged. And then look at this skinny fella. There's no way he could take me down. He took me out. And I was lucky. Because he could hit me two chopper and thing, but I'm lucky. Once at the higher move, I could have get damaged. But choosing your battles wisely simply means that sometimes it's just not the right place. You're out in the store, yo. You're in public. You and your wife shouldn't be tit-and-tatting. You could tit-and-tat, but lower your voice. Men, keep your voice strong. Talk to your wife like she's your wife in public. Do it right. If you want to deal with stuff home. Choose your battles wisely. And before you know it, when you realize, when you could control yourself and discipline yourself, I don't understand how you have people, adults, disciplined enough to study, disciplined enough to do well, disciplined enough to go to work every day, but not disciplined enough to just say, let me hush for 2 seconds. Because you know if your boss tells you something sideways, you ain't telling him off though. You're coming home and for days you're talking about, oh gosh, you tell me again, blah, 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 blah. Why you're so big and bad? Tell him something now. Yeah, but you're addicted to clothes, shelter, and food. Yes? You need that salary. Next point is dealing with handling conflict. If you are always the victim, then you are the problem. If you are always the victim, you are the problem. I've seen people watching me like, whoa. Yes, darling, you are the problem. Apostle Jemma preached on this a couple months ago, weeks ago. The 7 something that block abundance. Hindrances, and one of them was the victim mentality. That's victim mentality, right? If you're always a victim, you're the problem. I worked with someone a few years ago, and whenever there was a fracas in the office, she was involved. Whenever there was a fracas, she was involved. And sometimes she was right, sometimes she had just cause. But she had the propensity to get involved in I had a principal who used to say bacchanalia. He used to say bacchanalia. He used to be, what's this bacchanalia going on here? She was always involved in the fracas. And one day, the big boss called her into the office and said, listen, every time somebody call me about something going on here, you involved. Go to HR. We will give you 6 months salary, whatever it is you give her, but it's time for you to go. Because he's like, I'm trying to make millions. I don't have time to be dealing with spats. Now, of course, she felt aggrieved because she had justifully right. So, but sometimes, not everybody trying to dig your eye out. Sometimes you just have to leave people alone. Not only that, you have to understand people's perspective. What I found out a lot in dealing with people is that, we don't give the other person the benefit of the doubt. So just like how you went into the store, or let me not say store, you went into the licensing office, or you went into somewhere where there's long lines, and it's like, oh, I don't know what kind of morning I had, or I think this happened, and I tired, or they're making people wait. How are you so sure they didn't have such a morning? How are you so sure that the person who's attending to you, all they needed to hear from you was, God will work it out for you. And what we do as believers is we miss opportunities to speak into people's lives because you can't handle conflict. And just because it's not done the way you expect it to be done, you're giving people the example of Christ in the public sphere. And it's not the example that he wants you to give. Point number 5. Do not hold on to grudges. By a show of hands, anybody ever held on to a grudge? Yes. Ephesians 4:31 and 32 New Living Translations. Read this with me. Get rid of rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind one to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. There is a danger in holding on to a grudge. With time, grudges get explosive. Remember, we're talking about handling conflict, especially when there's an offense or hurt, is a result of the misunderstanding. Time is the one ingredient that can make things worse. In an ideal world, you get offended, you speak to the person resolves it, everything is hunky-dory, no problems. But the world is not ideal. I remember one time, Leah and I had a disagreement. And I typed because I feeling aggrieved. So I vex. So I take my space. Before I could even replay what I go and say, she comes and says, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. And then I was still vexed. Even though I wanted the apology, I was still vexed. Because it's my grudge. It's my grudge. Let me be vexed now. Let me be vexed. The thing that I'm upset about, hand it to me. And I don't want it. Because I like to hold on to my grudge. And what we do when we hold on to grudges is we miss opportunities for resolution. I've heard of siblings, brothers and sisters, siblings who come out the same womb, who sleep on the same bed, who eat out the same bowl of food, who don't talk to each other. Siblings, not friends from long time and friends expendable and blah, blah. Siblings, blood. If you test your blood now, it have 5 of them who just like you out there. And why are they arguing? Because mommy was favorite to one. Or I was the firstborn, and when I was the firstborn, dad and them didn't have any money. So they sent me away to live with Tanty. And by the time the last one came through, they had a little bit of means, and they gave them everything. And now I vex. So I don't talk to my sister. Because she had it all. She had gold spoon. And mommy and them leave me out there to fend with Tanty and them. And we have grown adults, Christian, tongue-talking, demon-chasing, tithe-giving people who if you see your sister number on your phone, the same feelings of enmity come rushing back. Holding on to a grudge is like, you saw my son Daniel. You know, what, 20-something pounds, 30 pounds, you could pick him up. Nothing to pick up. Hold him for 45 minutes. Hold him for an hour after you switch hands enough times. And then you start to lean to counteract the weight. And then your back started to hurt. And before you know it, you need to sit down. What started off as something tolerable becomes something that spirals out of control. When we hold on to a grudge, we block ourselves from opportunities to resolve the problem. And you know what we do? We use avoidance as our coping mechanism. Just because your sister does live in Canada now, you good. You don't have to see her, she don't have to see you. But she said she coming down for Christmas. And mommy said she can't stay by her. Why don't call your sister to see if you could stay by her? And everything that you thought you got over because you sweep it under the rug, all of a sudden, woof. And the one ingredient is like a pressure cooker. Time. Just give it time. And the same saved, did I say saved? Did I say tongue talking? Did I say demon chasing? What else did I say? Tide, give it, boy. You're sowing. But you can't get your sister saved. Because you're holding on to a grudge. Is that the Jesus that we teach? But why are we proficient at it?
There's nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to worship you. There's nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to worship you. There's nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to worship you. Nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to be with you. There's nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to worship you. There's nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to there is nothing. There's nothing like your presence, Lord. All I want is to worship you. There's nothing like your presence.
pleasant good morning to you. Have you ever said to yourself, I really wish I can understand the Bible better? I read the Bible, but I simply do not understand it. I wish I knew enough to share my faith. Sometimes I sit in the pew and I don't quite understand because the pastor uses so many scriptures. If you said any of these things, today I have the answer and the solution to your problem. My name is Jemma Duncan. My husband and I are the pastors of Divine Destiny Worship Center with our headquarters in Diego Martin. And we have a program called the School of the Bible that I would like to introduce to you today. School of the Bible is a one-year program for simple, regular, ordinary people who sit in the pews, whose only desire is to understand the Bible better. Since 2014, we've catered for a wide range of persons as young as 10 years old and people into their 80s. So it's something that the average person can really understand and grasp. Although we cater primarily for people in the pews, we've had a few pastors who came and they felt that they should just sharpen up their information based on the Word of God. Since 2014, we've helped almost 400 persons, ranging from young to way into the 80s. The program lasts for a year. Every Tuesday from 7 to 9 we meet, and for 4 Saturdays for the entire year. Every quarter we have what we call a quarterly assessment meeting. The quarterly is from 9 to 4. We also have online facilities and we've been really blessed. We have had people from USA, Canada, Europe, the Caribbean countries, Tobago, and we actually have what we call a local online group or groups of people who cannot come to what we call in class in Diego Martin. It doesn't matter where you are, you can access School of the Bible. We have lectures, we have group reports, individual book reports, movies, training in all our presentations that we call 5-minute sermonette, PowerPoint presentations. I mean, you name it, we have it. And we cover a wide range of topics. Our main resources are the Bible and the 7 manuals, and I'm going to just quickly give you a sense of the manual. Volume 1 contains the overview of the Bible and the first 5 books of the Bible, called the books of Moses, the books of the law, or the Pentateuch. It goes from Genesis to Deuteronomy. Volume 2 are what we call the books of history, from Joshua to Esther. Volume 3 are the books of poetry, from Job to Song of Solomon. Volume 4, books of prophecy, and the books of prophecy are divided into the minor prophets, major prophets. The major prophets are from Isaiah to Daniel, minor prophets, Hosea to Malachi. When you come to the School of the Bible, you will get a further understanding as to why they are called minor and major. Shifting into the New Testament, Volume 5 are the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and the one historical book, the book of Acts. Volume number 6 are letters of Paul. They are called the Pauline epistles, from Romans to Philemon. And volume number 7 are the general letters written by a variety of authors, from Hebrews to Jude. And then the one book of prophecy in the New Testament, the book of Revelation. Other resource materials are available on request. We have them there. If you wish for them, they're not compulsory. You can request them and we'll order them for you. We want to give you a little example of what some of the volumes look like. And so we have the cover page for the overview of the Bible, the cover page for the book of Genesis, and the cover page for the comparative study of the gospel. Call us at 633-3780 for further information. And this information will be for 2020. A brochure will be sent to you with all the information you will need. See you in School of the Bible in 2020. I'm sure the tips that Deon gave could be useful to you as an individual or anybody that you know in your home, at work, in your street, wherever people gather. But we still have a part 3 to come. However, I want you to promise me that you will not just hear, but you will put into practice what you hear, because the Bible says we should not just be hearers of the word, but doers as well. I don't want you to ever forget what Jesus said. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except by me. God bless you real good.